Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. Just give me a minute. Okay. All right. So thank you, Elizabeth, for the nice introduction. Good evening, everyone. If you can hear me, can you just type "can" in the chat box so that I'm able to see that you guys can hear me. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So first of all, I'd like to thank ECVI for giving me this opportunity to share with you tonight. A fantastic platform. We are all blessed and privileged. Just look at the home care demo that is shared by Elaine. Fantastic, right? So I guess without the support of the system, I don't think we'll be able to get and also to learn as much as what we did tonight. All right. So again, good evening. One thing that I would like to mention here is that apart from the gratitude, I'll also like to wish all our Muslim friends selamat berpuasa during this Ramadan months. All right. So today's topic is why are we here? So are you able to answer the question why are we here? Because you're forced to, or because you're conned into coming here tonight, or why are we here? So I guess the very first answers that we'll be able to get is that there is a person who invited us here tonight, right? Do you agree? So which means that the person who invite us here or who bring us into the Amway business is of course our sponsor, right? So for me, my sponsor is Ray. I'm forever thankful to him for introducing me this business. So that it totally changed my life, right? And of course, I'll introduce you my ex-girlfriend because she's already upgraded to my current wife, right? So her name is Jin Fei. She's currently working in a public sector company, also FMCG as a procurement manager, and we're also blessed with a son coming to 2 years old now. So maybe just a little bit briefing introduction on my background. I actually met Amway about 10 years ago when I was doing my master's in University of Malaya. I totally don't have a good impression on Amway because since small, I had this bad experience whereby, all those aunties would come and find my mother, and I think you need to back people in order to, for them, to earn in the business, you need to back people, right? So that's not I really wanted. So at that time, when my friend told me about this business, I was very disappointed with him because, I thought, you could have done something which is better or, which have better future, right? So, but because of 11 years friendship, I decided to join the business. But I set 3 rules. Number 1, I don't buy products. Number 2, I don't use product. Number 3, I don't go meeting, right? So that's how mean I am previously, right? So it doesn't matter how we get into the business, but I think more importantly, along the way, we should ask ourselves where we are and why we are here in this world and what we are currently doing, all right? So before I really start, I'll just give you a brief introduction on what I'm going to share with you tonight. I'm going to share with you 3 stories. I mean, 3 points that I get in the business, and I hope with that you'll be able to find your answer in why are you here in the Amway business. So of course, I'm not here to convince you. If you're a new person, don't worry, I'm not here to convince you, you have to do Amway business or what, because I don't think I have the right to do that. And in fact, no one has the right to dictate what you need to do. But more importantly is I hope my stories and a little bit sharing will be able to enlighten you so you'll be able to make your own decision better, right? Is that okay? So if we can start, can you just type 88 in the chat box so that we can start right away? So my Amway stories actually started with a statement for myself, whereby what happened was at that time, after I joined the business, I decided not to use the product. I don't want to go to meetings. I don't want to do the business, right? So what happened was at that time when I furthered my study, I got a scholarship from the university. And then at that time, what happened was majority of the people start working and only minority of us actually continue studying. So last time we all talked about the same topic, but suddenly things change. Why? Because when people start working, they are into a different environment. So what happened was they started to talk about something else. They talk about, how they want to excel in life, how they wanted to buy a car for themselves, buy a house for themselves, bring their parents for travel. But where were we? We were still stuck at the same place, right? So at that time, I have this idea of, I want to be better. I want to change for better. So there goes the first point that I would like to share with you, which is to reposition. So in any point of our life, whether we are working, we're studying, we're retiree or whatsoever, we always need to do realignment on what we want in life, right? So the first point that I want to share with you is this reposition. Now, reposition doesn't mean that you have to give up on what you are doing, but actually to find clarity, going ahead, whether we are doing right. If not, then how can we adjust from them? So in Amway, we heard about different stories, but my very first stories that I heard in Amway, which until today still inspire me, is this that I would like to share with you. Have you heard about Alice in the Wonderland? Right? So Alice obviously is the girl, not the cat, okay? Alice has a cat, right? So one day, Alice and the cat walk in the jungle. So they reach a crossroad whereby there is a left and also a right turn. So Alice was confused. So she asked the cat, she said, cat, should we go the left or the right path, right? So the cat asked Alice, where do you want to go? Alice said, I don't know. So the cat answered, it doesn't matter, right? Because whether you take left or the right path, it doesn't make a difference to your life because you don't have a destination to go for. I think same goes in life. The reason why is because if we don't know where we want to go, if we don't know what we want to achieve in life, doesn't matter what job we do, doesn't matter what business we do, because end of the day, it will make a difference in our life, right? Because lives go on. That means we just follow the flow. We don't take the initiative to determine what we want to achieve in life. But the thing is, there's no right or wrong. But again, I want to tell you real stories of mine in Amway business. How I got started, from a very negative perspective. How I activated, right? So, after I joined the business, right, and I decided I want to do something different and I want to know more about Amway business. So I actually told my friend that, I want to know more. So one day, this is actually a KFC. I was studying in University of Malaya. So this is actually a KFC outside my universities, just outside the main gate. And at that day, my friend Ray actually called me and said that, there's this senior that happened to come to KL. Would you like to meet him? So, deep inside my heart, I know that, obviously he wanted to convince me to do Amway business. So actually that night I was quite free, right? But I tried to reject politely. So I told him I'm not free. Maybe, we can meet maybe 10 o'clock at night or later, right? But if it's too late for you, then it's fine. We can meet some other time. But to my surprise, he said, yes, okay, we will meet 10 p.m., right? So I was a bit, disappointed and a bit regret because too late already. But you know what? That night itself, I sat there willingly from 10 p.m. until 3 p.m. This KFC was 24 hours, right? And that night itself, I decided to give Amway a try. But throughout the conversation, there wasn't even a single forcing or hard selling about Amway. We're just talking about a few topics. And that actually get me, thinking and actually get me activated to wanting to build the business. So the question that my upline asked me was at that time was, he said, how old are you? I said, I'm 25, he said, do you have any plan? To tell you the truth, when you ask people, do you have any plan? I can assure you that 99% of the people do not have a very clear plan, right? But because human want face, right? That means we are ego. Even if we don't have a plan, we'll just, blast something out just to save our face. So I told my upline that, I'm 25, I give myself 10 years. So these 10 years, I work very hard. So throughout these 10 years, I will be able to achieve the peak of my career. But if you really ask me, what would I want to do? I don't have an answer, right? I'm just saying for the sake of saying. So we said, yeah, fine. That's good. You're still young. After 10 years, you are only 35 years old, right? So he said, where did you come from? I said, I come from Penang. And then he started to ask. He said, when's the last time you went back home, and have dinner with your whole family? I said, I'm not sure. I'm very busy, so I hardly travel back. So we say, okay, my question to you is that what if the next 10 years of your peak in your career is the final 10 years of your parents? Will you do something differently? So at that moment, I kept quiet and I was stunned because, throughout that 25 years that in my life, no one asked me this sort of questions. So deep inside, I don't have any answers. I just laughed because I thought, this is a weird question. But do you know that when I go back that night, this question kept me thinking for the past 1 week, right? I couldn't really sleep. I was thinking the same thing, right? If this really happened, will I then, do something different? Will I then temporarily stop, my studies just to go back with my parents and try to fulfill whatever that they want to fulfill? Because 10 years is not very long, it's very short, right? So that got me started in Amway business. To reposition in any business or in life is not about what Amway can offer, right? It's not about how good is Amway. So sometimes when we talk to people, we no matter how good our presentation are, sometimes people just don't want. Not because Amway not good, but I think because we didn't pinpoint what is their need, right? So this example actually tells us that in order for a person to reposition in life, he must have been, activated, or he must have been realized that, he need to do something because he realized he's off track. That was what happened to me at that time, right? So, a lot of people say, yeah, of course you can do, right? You can speak, you are highly educated, you have a lot of support. But to be frank with you, I wasn't the person I am today. I used to be a introvert, to a certain extent. I think until today, I'm still that, right? But because I think to reposition, I also need to do some changes, because if it's more valuable, if it's more meaningful, I think the changes will be super worth it. Last time, every time when you see me, you will see this face, right? So it's not approachable, it's not friendly. Even if you have Amway, I don't think you want to talk to me about Amway, right? Because you will think that I will reject you straight away. That's what I am. I only realized that when I first start doing my Amway business. I remembered I set an appointment in Mid Valley, the Chili's, the restaurant, right? So I invited one of my classmates, a girl, right? So I talked to her about Amway business. And after that presentation, he said, Kate, I want to tell you something, but you promise me you won't scold me or you won't slap me. I said, I'm not that talent, right? But he said, the impression that you gave us, you are, right? And you are not approachable. And I was so shocked you are sharing me Amway. I'm not sure whether you will go far, because I don't think your character is suitable to do Amway business, right? So that night itself, she signed up, because not because she won the Amway business, but out of support, right? So that night, my biggest gain wasn't the sponsoring that I managed to recruit one people. I think the biggest gain was that, I got a slap in myself, that I start to realize I really need to change, right? So I think regardless of what's our background, what's our capability, what's our, advantage, disadvantage of character, it doesn't matter, because end of the day, all this can be transformed as long as we want to, right? So through Amway, I managed to transform to better, right? And in fact, I'm more satisfied today compared to what I used to be last time. So, you can do it as well. And, in Amway, it's not just about a character transformation. Sometimes it's about a personal transformation, right? So I wanted to introduce you who I know him as Toto, right? Toto is a leader in Amway, right? So I knew him like more than 10 years, right? So when I knew him, he's a bit chubby, okay, because he was a very successful conventional businessman at a very young age. So at mid-20s, he basically have all he wanted in life. So he enjoyed a lot, and he even told me that he drank a lot, and he himself, one person, can actually eat whole bucket of KFC. So that's how great he is. And one day, through the Nutrilite and also the nutritional knowledge, he decided he want to transform. He want to reposition himself to a person that it's more healthy, right? Because at that time he has got high uric acid, he has got pain in the joint and things like that. And he said he decided to join his very first 10 km marathon run. So I said, very well, right? And I wish him well. But deep inside, I would say that I don't think you can make it to the finish line, right? And he made it. And guess what? Today he's a international triathlon, or people call it an Ironman athlete, right, on an international level. So in this platform, sometimes reposition is not just about making a lot of money, but sometimes it all starts with us, right? Whether it's character changes, whether it's behavior changes, additional knowledge, or even our physical and mental appearances, right? So that's the first point that I want to share with you, which is to reposition. So maybe we can ask ourselves, why are we here tonight? Are we here because we are forced to, or are we here because we want to change for better? And hopefully, this business can actually help us. So the second point that I want to share with you tonight is wisdom. In this world, right, sometimes you can have a very high education level. You can study even until PhD, double PhD, or even triple PhD, right? It doesn't matter. But does intelligence, or does your degree, or does position, in corporate world certify us to have the wisdom, right? So I don't think it's tally, right? So sometimes when you are doing Amway business, especially for those who are building the business, have you ever been laughed by someone else that you have nothing better to do? Why are you doing Amway, right? So if people laugh at you before when you're doing business, maybe you can type in the chat box and say me, so that I can see whether you also have the same same problem as me, right? Last time. So, a few months ago, I heard a story from a leader from Hong Kong. And I think this story best summarizes of what is wisdom, right? So have you heard about the story of $1 and also the $5? So what happened was, there's a kid, his name is Andy, right? So Andy is a bit plump, his face is a bit innocent. When you have a group of, say, school children, right? If you have an innocent face, normally what happened? People will try to bully you, right? So this was what happened to Andy, right? So, there's this boy, the big bully, try to make fun of Andy. So one day he took out a 1 ringgit and also 5 ringgit, right? And he threw to the floor. So he asked, hey, Andy, do you think 1 ringgit is more or 5 ringgit is more? Okay. So Andy said, 1 ringgit, right? So the bully, told everyone, you see, Andy is so stupid, can't even, differentiate 1 ringgit and 5 ringgit, right? So he said, okay, you can have the 1 ringgit. So everyone laughed, ha 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 ha, ha, right? So, no one pity Andy, okay? And in fact, Andy actually came from a very, very, very poor family, right? And he was single-handedly brought, raised up by his mom, okay? So a single parent family. And because the bully was very excited to make fun of bullies like this, right? So always take advantage and belittle people. So what happened was they continue doing it. Now they invited another group of people and say, look, Andy is very stupid, let me show you something. So he said, come everyone, Andy, come. Okay, now you tell everyone, is 1 ringgit is more or 5 ringgit is more? So Andy again said 1 ringgit. So everyone laughed, ha ha ha, right? So okay, again he said you can have the 1 ringgit. So he actually repeatedly bullied Andy for like easily 10 to 20 times. When this happened frequent, right? It then goes to the information of his mom, and his mom was very sad because imagine if your kids are belittled by someone, right? So you don't feel good, right? So one day when Andy came home, The mom asked Andy, say, Andy, are you bullied in school? He said, yeah, mom, but don't worry, right? So he said, I'm worried, you're being bullied, but I'm not worried, I'm more worried. You are stupid, You can't even differentiate whether 1 ringgit is more or 5 ringgit is more. So Andy said, yeah, I know, mom, but don't worry. I'm just, trying to do what I can to help out, reduce the financial burden. So the mom got even more upset, right? He said, even if you want to help, you should realize that the 5 ringgit is more than 1 ringgit, right? So, what happened was, Andy said, yeah, I know, mom. The reason why I said 1 ringgit is if today I said 5 ringgit is more, they won't make fun of me anymore. And that's it. That's only the one time they will make fun of me, right? And I'll only get like 5 ringgit. But the reason why I said 1 ringgit is more, I know they will repeatedly doing it. And with that, I'll be able to earn even more, right? So when the mother heard what the son said, right? So she realized the son is not stupid. In fact, the son is very wise. She hugged him and then both cried together, right? So do you know the moral of the story? Sometimes, when people laugh at you, right, and you think you're smart, in fact, you're not, right? It's just like you're doing Amway business. We're doing Amway business. People laugh at us, right? And say that, are you sure you're doing the right thing? Are you doing a pyramid scheme, right? Why don't you do something that is more meaningful, right? Have you heard of that? Does that, sounds familiar? But I think as long as we know what we are doing, you know, we will have the wisdom, right? So it doesn't matter whether people laugh at us, as long as we have the last laugh, right? So that's the first story that I want to share with you. And in fact, a lot of people don't know during this pandemic, right? A lot of industry were affected. But in fact, last year was the most badly hit period of time of MCO. And you know what? The third quarter of last year, Amway net profit rises 47%, right? And that actually tell you, how good and how fantastic is the business, right? So it doesn't matter how people see us as long as we know what we are doing, right? And I want to tell you, some people start working, right? So I want to share with you something about wisdom, right? So you see whether which one is better. Okay, so now I'm offering you a job. Okay, so you're fresh grad. Can you tell me, like, right now, fresh grad, how much do you earn as a salary as a fresh grad, so that you can type in the chat box, we can have a better idea, right? But today, regardless of what background you are, because we met here tonight, I'm willing to offer you a job, right? So if you work with me, right, from the age of 26, I will assure you that you won't lose your job until the age of 55. You only work 5 days a week, 7 hours per day. Is that good? So some people say, a fresh grad actually earn about 2K, 3K, or even 4K. But what I'm offering you is 1 year, I'm offering you 240,000 every year when you work with me. And if you divide it out, you're actually earning 20,000 per month. Is that good? If you want this job, right, job security, right? Just type in the chat box "I want" and I will send the offer letter to you, right? And do you know that if you accept my offer from the age of 26 until you retire, you're actually earning 7.2 million from me. So do you think this offer is good? If you think it's good, right, I don't think you want to look at other opportunity like Amway or anything else, because you feel your life is secure. Correct? So, but why are we doing Amway business? Why are we doing Amway business? Let me show you something, right? So let's say, right? People laugh at you, right? So let's see what you're doing. Okay, what if we start building Amway business? We get all the support, get the support from the upline, from ECVI and from all the leaders around you, right? So when you start Amway business, you don't earn anything. When we start, we don't earn anything, right? So let's say the first year I earn zero income. And in fact, I'll still have to try out the product that Eileen shared just now because I felt it's fantastic. I want to try. But when you try product, you don't get income until and unless you start to do start to build the consumer network, right? So let's say if I use 1 year to achieve platinum, a platinum will earn about 80,000. And by the way, there's a disclaimer. I want to tell you that the income that I shared today is just an example. And I want to tell you that the income does not tally with the real income. Why? Because when I do this slide, it was before the Core Plus was introduced. And for those who don't know what is Core Plus means, if you do the business, you easily get at least 40% extra of what you're supposed to earn as per stated here, right? So, So, the second year when you achieve platinum, you actually earn 80,000, right? And it took you very long. Let's say you build slow and steady. It only take you like 6 years. People take 2 to 3 years. You take 6 years to achieve a founder's platinum. A founder's platinum earn about $120,000, right? And it took you 11 years to achieve emerald. Very slow, right? And it took you 16 years before you achieve diamond. And from there, you decided that, I'm going to stop doing Amway. But, maybe on the 20th year, you decided to build one more leg to become a 7-leg diamond. And guess what? The income that you get is 23 million compared to 7.2 million. But what I will tell you is, if you are at the age of 26, you got 2 offers. One is Amway, first year income 0. One is a job that I offered you, you get 20,000 per month. Obviously, as a human being, as a logical mind, will definitely decide on the job because, the first month itself already earned extra 20,000 and that's a lot of money. Do you realize? But, at the end of the day, who have the last laugh? You know why? The reason why you only earn until 55 here, because after 56, you're retired, you no longer have active income. But in Amway, you're actually building the consumer network and continue to enjoy, the passive income. It's not easy to achieve this. Why? Because you don't outperform your previous year. And it's quite impossible because, in Amway business, the dynamic of your network marketing, right? It will keep growing. So this is a very conservative calculation, right? So end of the day, I just want to tell you that logic sometimes doesn't mean wisdom, right? Logical mind doesn't translate to the wisdom or an intelligence of a person. Okay, so if you don't understand, I'll share with you one more thing, right? So if there is a competition of digging a soil, okay, so you get to choose which team you want to go into. Team black is this guy, and team white is this guy. So which one would you want to join? Do you want to join team black or team white? So obviously we want to join the team black, right? So if you want to join team black, you can type black. If you want to join team white, you can type white, okay? So a logical mind would tell me that I want to join the black, right? Because he's more muscular. So definitely if I bet on him, there's a higher possibility that, he'll be able to dig the soil faster because he's more powerful, right? But I haven't tell you what tools they have. This one, the team black will have a chanko, okay, and team white will have an excavator. So who do you think will win now? So that's why I said sometimes what we see doesn't really translate the end result that we want. So what's more important thing is that don't just listen to people. Immerse ourselves in the environment, try it out, right? So that, we know what happened. The best thing to see is that the person who are in the business and the person who have worked in your industry for 10 years, you compare their lifestyle, right? Is that what you really want? Because 10 years later, you'll be one of them, right? So I think one of the real life example that I love about Amway business is that it's not how fast or how early you come into the business. It's about whether or not you build the business wholeheartedly and it's fair. I worked part-time in the business for 9 years because I love money so that, I can earn my emerald income. At the same time, I can also earn the manager income in my corporate world. So, I really enjoy, both income. And in fact, I would say that my income is even tally with the diamond income. The difference is that I don't have the lifestyle. I'm very busy, right? So throughout the 9 years when I was earning from both sides, okay, there's this one person that, I introduced into the business. I think you guys know him and her, Wayne and Joanne. They decided, to build the Amway full time. And guess what? Throughout the 9 years, obviously they put in the effort more than me, correct? So, when I was Emerald, they're already an executive diamond. So for your information, if you don't know what is executive diamond, the income is easily triple or even, 4 times more than me. So that's the beauty of the business, right? So, after some times, I realized that, what I really want is not just money, right? I want freedom as well, freedom of time. So at that time, I decided to resign 2 years ago when my boy, right, was about to born. So I resigned and I decided, to focus on Amway business, because at that time I was already in an Emerald and I actually enjoyed the security and also the passive income. And I really see, how my boy grow, how he crawl, how he speak the first word, how he took his first step. And I think that's something that cannot be bought with money. But more importantly is that, I realized my health was affected, right? At that time, I realized, my joint were problem and things like that. But today, I can buy back my time. I was busy last time, but at least I built a passive income from there through Amway business. And I think it's worth it, because today I will have every morning, I'll have my me time, to work out and become more healthy, right? So the 2 points that we shared with you, and the final point that I want to share with you is the war within. What is war within? Today, we have decided to reposition ourselves, right? And we also have, decided to we see the wisdom in the business, right? And the last thing, what really stopped us is the war within. Have you known someone that actually overthink? And, what happened was, people will ask, you're in Amway business for so long, but why don't you have result? It's very simple. Why am I not getting result? Because I know what to do. I know how to do. I just never do. Right? Familiar? I know what to do. I know how to do. I just never do. Now, what happened was, it's not your fault. It's not our fault as well. But what happened is, it's a problem with our mindset. All right. So if you can, juggle between these two mindset, definitely all the problem, right, you can settle in Amway business. So the first mindset I want to talk to you is finite um, mindset. Okay. So what's finite mindset? Finite means there is a cap, there is a limit. So finite mindset means, we tend to be desperate, right? Because we think, we fear of losing out, right? We are very obsessive. When we talk to people, you want Amway or not? No one, no more friend. I'm not going to talk to you again, right? So we are possessive, right? We really want the people around us do Amway. If not, then we get angry because we realize, you're my family, you're my best friend, you should do Amway with me. So that's what we call a finite mindset. So whatever we do is based on the interests that involve us. If it doesn't give us any interest, we're not going to, to chip in or whatever, right? But what we can really change is to change the mindset into the infinite mindset. What is infinite? Infinite means there's limitless, right? So what happened with infinite mindset is that, we always think that there are always options available. The world are abundance, right? As long as we are willing to do it, there's definitely an opportunity there. We're willing to learn, we're willing to grow because we believe in a win-win mindset. So today, what I'm going to share with you is that, there are a lot of opportunities out there, right? But, as I said, wisdom matters, because what you see right now might not be prolonged or sustainable in long term. So I always believe that, don't be disheartened when we are outperformed by others or even other industry, because things can be manipulated for short term, right? Even results can be manipulated. But rest assured that in long run, we'll be able to outperform others if we stick to the time-tested principles and by building the fundamentals as shown by the leaders and also the ECVI system, right? So one thing that I want to share with you is a lot of people will tell you that, I don't have time, I don't have money and things like that. But one real life story I want to share with you is, from Sophia Grace, right? When she was in the business, what happened was, she don't have car and she's just a student. So, she wanted to build the Amway business and she decided that it's okay, I'll just take public transport. So she spent about 2 hours plus just to go to a meeting place to learn. We're not talking about earning yet, we're just talking about learning. And she continued that for 1 year. Guess what? People laugh at her. People said that, you don't have car, how do you even bring people to meetings, right? So because she have the infinite mindset, she said that, is there any other public transport that can bring more people compared to my LRT, right? Oh, true, right? So true enough, in 1 year time, she achieved a 21%, and after she graduated, she never have to work ever again, right? So what I want to share with you is that don't hesitate, right? As long as we try, it doesn't matter if we fail. More importantly is, we are able to improve and also advance. So one thing I want to share with you is this. Today, imagine, right? If we were to compete with others, definitely we'll have the finite mindset because we always think how we want to beat others, right? Sounds familiar? But I think infinite mindset tells us that doesn't matter how people perform, they deserve it. But more importantly is, am I better, compared to who I am yesterday? Now, say for example, I take 3 months. So imagine if one day I'll just improve 1%, 3 months down the road, compared to the first day, I've already improved 90%. And that's how powerful it is, the infinite mindset. You don't have to take a big step, but as long as we are consistent with small steps, we'll still be able to make it, right? So, I remembered one day, and I've been to quite a few of travels with Amway and also with my family, and I think one of the greatest memory I had with Amway travel is 1 year when we go to Hokkaido. So Hokkaido is a cold place. Two things you must try. One is the hot spring, which is the onsen. Another one is the what do you call that? The ski, right? So the hot spring is different from the one that we go to Sungai over in Malaysia. Okay, the different number one is the weather. In Hokkaido, the weather is minus, negative, right? Up there and down there, the water is 37 to 38. So it's fantastic. The Sungai one up there is, maybe 38. Down there is even hotter, right? So it can basically cook your egg, okay? So just kidding. So what happened was when we go to the onsen, the practice is that you have to be naked. What I mean is completely naked, right? You take off everything, including your underwear, right? So they will give you a towel, a small little towel, a square towel. So maybe you will think, where should you cover, up here or down here, right? But I can tell you it's all the same. You should cover your face, right? Because that's make the difference. So the story is that, can you imagine today you go with your friend, you meeting together, build MBA business together, and tomorrow you go to the onsen and you'll be naked together. And I happen to go with Mike. If you know Mike, he's one of the fittest guy in ECVI, right? So that time my mindset was a bit hairwired because I'm not sure whether I should do this because it's so embarrassing, right? And because at that time I think I was trying to compare because men have the sense of inferiority, right? He's the fittest guy, maybe after he see my we, it's a bit awkward. But I think the good thing is at least I have an infinite mindset at that time, right? So I think, it's the same. So after that session, I feel good because I think everyone is the same. You don't have to compete with others, right? As long as we keep improving every day. Okay? So, they say when people die, you have 7 minutes brain activity left. You will refresh back what happened in my life and things like that. So this is our life, right? Do we have the wisdom to reposition, to have the wisdom and also, to not overthink and do what matters the most to us and not what matters the most how people see us? That's a different, right? So if we matter, if we if we focus on what matters the most to us, I don't think we would care what people look at us as long as we achieve the goal and result what we want in life. So hopefully that 7 minutes before we really die, right? It's all great memories, travels with friends, family, there's no regret and things like that. So, yep, 7 minutes, this is true. If you are not sure, if you have doubts, you tried it, that 7 minutes, and you come back and tell us whether this is true or not. Last but not least, I just want to share with you something. Just 1 minute, right? So what happened was, when I first got my license, I was doing my STPM, right? So during that break, I was from Penang, and then the best place to do the countdown at that time was Gurney Drive in Penang. So we get fireworks by the seaside, perfect. I just got my license and, my uncle is kind enough to actually borrow me his Mercedes. Can you imagine a student drive a Mercedes? Must be very proud, right? So what happened was, I gotten this car. I called my friend. I said, I'm going to fetch you today because I'm so proud, right? I'm driving a Mercedes. Okay. So we went to countdown, happy. Friends were amazed, right? Things like that. So I dropped them off. At that time, it was midnight already. Car need petrol, right? At that time, Elon Musk wasn't available yet. There's no electric car. So all cars needs petrol, right? So this petrol I'll have to pump. But you know what? I was driving a national car, Prodoa and also Proton. And what happened was, every time when you want to pump petrol, you need to open the petrol cap. And, you basically have a handle, either the middle or the side or the front. But, Mercedes don't have that. I didn't know, I was so kampong at that time. So, I went to the petrol station. I was shocked. I don't know what to do, right? I stand there for about 10 to 15 minutes, midnight already. So I was so embarrassed. And I, suddenly remember that one of my friend's father actually drive a Mercedes. So I called him. I asked him, have you seen your father pump petrol before? He said, yes. So how do you open the cap? He said, you just need to gently touch on the cap and then it will open. I said, are you sure? He said, sure. So I tried that. Really open. Pump petrol, go back home. I don't dare to call my uncle at that time because it was midnight and I haven't even tell him this story, right? So what I will tell you is, regardless of what great job, what great title you have, it doesn't matter. End of the day, if we don't know the essence of life, which is maybe not very important now, just like open the petrol cap, I don't think it's very important. But if we don't take care of that, I don't think the whole car will move, right? Same thing in life, if we are just focusing on what brand of cars and what title we have in life, if we don't know what's the meaning of life, which is not very important right now, I think end of the day, we will have the last regret, right? Same thing. Today, Amway is a fantastic business, right? It's like a supercar. But if you don't know how to maneuver or you don't know how to operate this car, you are driving it like I'm sorry if you're driving a kanchil. I'm not saying kanchil no good. I'm just doing comparison. No point. Even if you have the best supercar in the world, you're just driving it like a kanchil. So my last question to all of you is that you have a fantastic business on hand. Are you driving it like a country, right? Are you getting the income that you really deserve? I think it's time to find how to open the petrol cap, which is how to really, really, really build the business correctly. So consult the people who bring you here tonight. I'm sure they're more than happy to help. So with that, I would like to thank you for tonight's time. And I hope tonight everyone can find your purpose again. Why are we here? And are we able to get what we deserve in life with the supercar that we have? With that, I pass it back to MC. Thank you very much.